Alright, so for this video I want to talk about different stealth builds in Payday 2. The first one I want to talk about is the one that's, I think, the most underrated. You can bag corpses 20% faster. You gain 1 increased concealment. You can pick locks 20% faster, which I think is probably one of the best parts of this perk deck. And you can answer pagers 10% faster. Now, it doesn't give you how much time it takes to lockpick and all this other stuff, so I think this 10% stuff is kind of a lot of data that a lot of people don't understand, including me. But I did look up, when you answer pagers 10% faster, normally it takes you 10 seconds to answer a pager. With this perk, it takes you 9 seconds to answer a pager, so it's only 1 second difference. It could be important if a guard is coming around the corner, be able to answer that pager faster. It's also good if you have to take out 2 guards at the same time, be able to answer the pagers in enough time to be able to answer the other pagers. I think the alarm goes off around 12 seconds, so you only have 2 seconds. This gives you 3 more seconds to answer the other pager versus 2 seconds to answer the other pager. That might give you some perspective on how much time you have to answer that second pager. If you shot that guard that's a little further away, you'll have that 3 extra seconds to be able to answer that pager. So that could be very useful. And the pagers do go off at different times, so that can vary a bit. But yeah, 3 extra seconds whenever that pager goes off, that can mean all the difference. So I think Burglar is definitely underrated. Should definitely give this one a try. Yakuza. Yakuza is for speedrunning. If you like to go fast, this is definitely worth bringing. Your health has to be below 25%. And for some reason, they want you to bring Berserker, and it will start at 50% health instead of 25. So this is kind of annoying. I don't know why you'd bring Berserker and you have to lose health just to use that 20% movement speed. Very annoying. I don't get it. Very good for running to cover. But other than that, most of these other skills are for loud, so keep that in mind. The armor recover rate and all this other stuff. You do get the 1 concealment, but other than that, kind of useless skills here. I usually just use a Molotov. I don't bring the Berserker, just so I can use my skill points in another area other than Berserker. Alright. Next perk deck, we have the Hacker. Now the Hacker is very useful. It could disable drones. It can also disable cameras. It can also disable objectives. I had that issue on Hoxton Revenge, where the vault will open if I start using ECMs or some other computers, different things will also be disabled. Not always, but sometimes. Things will get disabled, and it's not as useful as you think it is. But for certain heists like Murky Station, see what else, Ukrainian prisoner heist, there's a lot of drones there. And the newest heist, I forgot the name of that, but you definitely want to bring hackers to disable those drones. Also great for any heist with a lot of cameras, like the Golden Grin Casino, which you can't disable the security room right away. Also, Firestarter Day 2. There's just a lot of cameras in that building, so you might want to bring the Hacker. But other than that, all these skills are for loud. That's why a lot of people bring this perk deck for loud. And completely useless, except for this one. Increases 1 concealment. But everything else is for a loud build. And so probably is the weakest perk deck for stealth, just because it doesn't have any other bonuses, but still very good for disabling a lot of stuff like drones and cameras if that's an issue for you. But if there's a security room, you might pick Burglar over this one just because you just disabled the security room and this perk will no longer be useful. Alright, for some skills. This is for extra cable ties for hostages. Transporter gets throw bags further. And be able to move faster. Faster drill skills, more trip mines, a second deployable. ECMs are always great for opening security rooms. You can open doors. Also great for just dropping a lot of ECMs and disabling pagers for an extended period of time. Lockpicking, more bags, 6th Sense. These two are the most important for moving faster. Notice I don't bring dodge because that's a loud build. More concealment. You'll notice targeted by enemies is also on the Burglar for some reason. That's for loud. That doesn't help with detection. Marked enemies. Alright, this is a high value target. And you might want to ace this one. It's actually the one I don't see a lot of people using. It's very useful. It increases marked enemies, the aura that you see, by 100%. Now, I looked on the long guide. It said it's 13.5 normally. And with this skill aced, it is 27 seconds that enemies will remain marked. That is a game changer, I'm telling you. And I think it synergizes with 6th Sense as well because they do turn dark red. So I think high value target works with 6th Sense. It also works with trip mines. So if you like trip mines, use high value target. They'll remain marked for 27 seconds. Alright. Last thing I want to talk about is Intimidation. Now I have 2 loud weapons that I use, and I do bring a throwable for Intimidation so I could take out the guards. Now Intimidation is probably the stealth build that most people don't know about. You're able to scare civilians to the ground with loud weapons, and they remain intimidated for a duration. I don't know exactly the duration, but it's a very long time. And you just keep shooting your gun to keep them on the ground, and they won't get up. Alright, so confidence. Basic. The power and range of your intimidation is increased by 50%. And Stockholm Syndrome. Civilians are intimidated by the noise you make and remain intimidated for 50% longer. Alright, and I read on the long guide, I don't know how accurate that guide still is, but I read that it's 18.5 meters, if I remember right. So that's about 2 buildings long. Especially on the diamond store, it seems to cover from that diamond store all the way to the automotive store, and that's just about it. Anyone on the road seems to be not intimidated. But yeah, if you just shoot your gun, all the civilians will eventually go to the ground, and you don't have to worry about civilians calling 911 and all the cops arriving. So yeah, I select the jewelry store, the diamond store, Bank Gold, Bank Random, all those. Go Bank, No Mercy. Those are all great heists for this. any heist where there's just a lot of civilians, not too many guards, you can definitely take advantage of this without killing all the civilians. Alright, so that's just about everything I wanted to cover with stealth builds. If you liked the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button, and I'll see you next time.